Um, Here's Survivor, chapter 23, entitled Fate. As soon as she touched his forehead, her heart froze. He was shockingly cold. She shook him by the shoulders. Keith, Keith, she shouted, getting louder with each passing minute. He didn't respond, and in panic, she ran outside for help and motioned to Stuart to take a look. She sat outside on the cold, hard steps as the medical staff tried their best to save him. She knew he was gone. It was a heart attack, they said. At least it was quick, they said, but it was no comfort to her as her heart was broken. For the next few hours, she wandered around the ship. She was in a daze and she hardly noticed the people or the shops. She finally went back to the cabin and she looked out of the window at the dark, swirling sea. And she threw herself on the bed and wept. What was to become of me now? She said despairingly. She hated the world. Every time something good happened, it was always spoilt. She had loved him and now he was gone. He wasn't a meal ticket to her. He was a father figure, a true friend. She sat in the dining room surrounded by couples. They were laughing and joking, but she was dying. For hours she sat looking out at the sea and she contemplated jumping overboard. The next day she looked in the mirror at her bloodshot, teary eyes, and as she did, she heard Keith's voice in her head. It was then that she decided not to give up. He had shown her a different type of life, and she had no intention of going back. It was sink or swim. She applied lipstick and makeup and roused herself to exploring Amsterdam. She wanted to see the Anne Museum. Anne was one of her heroines. As she walked around the cobble streets, she felt like Keith was walking with her, and she wore sunglasses to cover her tearful eyes. The queue to the museum was long. She waited patiently. She'd been brought up a Catholic, but her faith was now dead. From now on, she only believed in herself. How could a loving God allow so much suffering? She thought bitterly. She wished with all her heart that Anne Frank had survived, but wishing was futile. She finally got to the end of the sea around the museum. It was very moving and sad, but inspirational. She hated the Nazis, and her dislike for the majority of men increased. But Keith was different. He was kind, loving, and he wanted nothing in return. He was a diamond surrounded by pebbles, she thought, and laughed. It was better to laugh than to cry.